Good morning from my smartphone to yours. I'm Caston Love, here from the Serious Story Garden Studios in Costa Mesa, California. This is your Tuesday. Namaste today. Introducing a new phenomenon in understanding your birthday. It's a video all about you. Send us your date of birth and we'll send you all the secrets to how you love and how you lust. Bow chicka bow wow. Are you ready to find love? Bow chicka bow wow. Your secrets are coming out. Bow chicka bow wow. All those sexy secrets are available at secretsofbirthdays.com. Bow chicka bow wow, baby. Good morning and Namaste. Welcome to Namaste today. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, Christopher Witecki. My modality is psychic astrology, and my personal mission is to stand in my heart and help other people stand in theirs. This webisode is for now Tuesday, April 5th, 2016, and today the Great Human Walk has reached step 16, Aries. Today, we are listening to Spirit. But before I move into today's vibe, I do want to do a shout out that I will be traveling for a Love Fest in May and also a Love Fest in June. And I'm looking to see which city I should go to. If you come to my website at soulgarden.tv and click about, you'll see Love Fest as one of the options, and you can vote to have me come to your city. I'm looking forward to meeting the viewers in at least 2 cities in the next couple months, and I will be holding Love Fest and probably also some seminars in the 11 Steps to Serious Joy, little mini one-day seminars to help people step into their light. So if you want to vote for your city, come on down to soulgarden.tv and click about Love Fest. That said, today the Great Human Walk has reached step 16, Aries, and I believe it will be a cloudy day and spiritual. That's right, today's vibe is cloudy and spiritual. That's because ultimately, if we are receiving and opening up today, I think we will be feeling our spiritual psychic senses. As one of my friends used to say, your spidey senses might be tingling today. You might also have had some profound dreams. With the combination of the planets, the sun at steps 15 and 16 the last 2 days, and the moon in Pisces, a lot of people receive divine message through their dreams. I certainly have. My dream life has been very intense the last couple of weeks, sometimes positive, sometimes negative, just so you know. Sometimes I wake up feeling really icky, and I think that really is processing the lower vibrations out. We literally have to take time and space on Earth to tell our soul that there's no more trauma, that we're not being burned as a witch, that we're not having these things happen. And the soul has a tendency to think they will, and we have to reaffirm, no, they're not. So we're doing a lot of spiritual work today with the sun in Aries and the day ultimately ruled by spirit. This is a day where your ego is learning to be strong for your spirit. Ego, strength for spirit. So today my heart seeks salvation. Sun is at step 16, Aries. I'm looking for relief. I'm looking for an easygoing flow. I'm looking for the easy path. Probably not too motivated, probably not much energy today. We'll talk about that. It really is a day of listening and observing, and my heart would like to know what the spiritual answer is. I feel like I am healing. The moon is crossing Chiron during the course of today, and so we are releasing a lot of heavy old burden. Sometimes releasing burden doesn't feel like anything but just feeling blah. A lot of times when we do release, we literally just have to sit around and allow ourselves to gently feel better through the day. And so that's what today is. Today is a day where a lot of it is just allowing yourself to gently feel better. And what's happening is as you surrender to spirit, ego is letting go of things that it insisted on having. And you're realizing, oh, it's not worth the fight, it's not worth the chase, certain things aren't worth it. So today you really want to just allow yourself to let go, allow yourself to let flow, have no intentions other than what is divinely inspired to you. Now, what I'm open to is absolutely nothing. I'm closed down. That's because Venus is now at step 0 Aries, so most of us are likely closed down. Your ego might be in a little bit of a huff and not wanting to accept from others, but really what's happening is that you're accustomed to accepting under the old ego terms, and now you're beginning to accept under the new ego terms. So this is a transition. The old ego may be fought, the new ego says thank you, that sort of thing. So you might find half the day you're in your old ego and half the day you're in your new ego, or back and forth all day. But again, I really think the best thing to do is just observe, not attempt to do anything. This is a real day of reflection and observation more than it is to receive or get anything done. Now, your mind may be very tested today. Mercury is at step 29 Aries. That is the final and tested step. That means our minds are hyperactive, full of questions, impatient, and in all those cases, the smartass is going to have to just settle down and be quiet. The best thing to do is to be hyper listening instead of hyper thinking. So if your mind is hyper, keep listening for the smallest little nuances in your soul. Stay focused on listening. Try not to process too much. And definitely think twice before you say anything to anyone, because there are very much loose lips right now, especially with Venus at step 0. When Venus is at step 0, hidden secrets often come out, and sometimes they're shocking as well. I am today moving ahead with my spiritual decisions. That's because Mars has reached step 8 Sagittarius. Hallelujah. That means we're decisive. That means we're going to start to decide. I would imagine that in the next 10 days, most people will make up their mind about politics and about presidency. And you might go, it's a long way off. I know, but Mars at step 8 of Sagittarius pretty much is the decision. I bet you people will be open to other decisions, but pretty much people will stick with what they decide in the next 10 to 15 days. So if you happen to watch my show and you're running for president, you better go for it right now, Bernie. As far as learning is concerned, I am now learning at step 14. Jupiter has retrograded back to step 14, Virgo, which means I am learning where I belong on Earth, what is appropriate for where I belong on Earth. And it's highly likely that because you decide you believe in this or you don't believe in that, because step 8 Mars is drawing a line with belief and people are making decisions, a lot of where people belong comes down to that belief change. So you decided that you believe in a peaceful environment, well, right off the bat, you belong in another neighborhood. Or if you decide you belong in a progressive political campaign, well, then you belong in another political party. So whatever you believe in leads to where you belong, and a lot of people will be changing where they think they belong in the next 10 to 15 days. So your joy question, you choose to accept it, is go with the flow all day. Just try to be a team player. Try to observe and go with what happens. If something strange comes into your moment, do the best you can, go with the flow. Don't allow your ego to overreact. Don't allow your emotions to over-emote. All right? Just try to observe. The biggest thing today is a spiritual day, so because step 16 adds to a 7, God Universe is attempting to teach what our spirit really wants more so than push or change anything. However, sometimes it takes a certain push or it takes a certain shocking event that we witness for us to be willing to change our ego or willing to change our mind. So today, go with what flows. If something is hard, avoid it. If someone's challenging, avoid them. Go with the easy path, take the easy way out, and it's totally okay to go home early if your soul and your job allows it. See what works and see what doesn't today. All right, friends. Well, because I'm feeling a little under the weather, I am skipping the 11 Steps series right now for a couple of days until I'm back on my feet and I can say with 100% energy. But I will give you the Zen Den coming up right now. And welcome to the Zen Den. Before I give an affirmation, let's take 3 breaths. I am surrounding myself with royal blue light, filling you with golden love, and inviting you inside to recharge your batteries if you need. Let us co-create together and support one another on Earth. Let's take 3 breaths. Very interesting. I did get a planet, so if you got a planet, hold on to that thought. I'll tell you about it in a second. First, an affirmation. I honor what flows today and will open my heart even more. I honor what flows today and will open my heart even more. So earlier I was saying, go with what flows, ignore what doesn't. But once you do find what flows, open up even more. If you've determined that someone is safe or someone's generosity is safe or a cute little dog like Bella is safe, open more today. We're stretching our hearts and we're also stretching our egos to support our heart. What you're saying to the dumbass, which is your ego, is, hey, my heart might be open this much occasionally, and if it is, I need to be protected. I need myself to stand up for it. So today I think is a gentle day. I think we are supported by the universe. And I think when it comes to what flows, we want to open our hearts even more. Give it a try. So can you guess what planet came up today in my thoughts? It was Mercury. I know, I don't get Mercury very often. Kind of interesting, huh? But let's take a look at the planets. Put up the planets. For starters, the sun is at step 16 Aries. Boy, we are plowing through this. It seems just like yesterday we started Aries. Step 16 is I love and I receive. So we're looking for what we love and what we can receive today, which will turn out to be the spiritual mission. When you open your heart and you're able to receive, and you know from the 11 steps I've taught so far what it takes to receive. It's not just like a snap of the finger. You got to have protection, love, feelings, belief, all of that to receive. So when your heart can receive, you are automatically in spirit, according to the architecture of incarnation. And that's because of the nature of the heart. The heart cannot open up to anything but, I think, that high spiritual vibration. Now you might be noticing what I'm noticing, that the sun is heading for Uranus. Uranus is at step 20, which is I feel and I protect. And what's going to happen is when the sun crosses that, literally in 4 days, 4 steps, we're all going to be taken to a higher level of ego and experiencing. So it really is important to be open to what flows right now, to build the foundation of your strength, to get rid of the bullshit and the crap out of your energy, because whatever you have going will be catapulted up in 4 days. Therefore, you've got to be strong and you've got to be good at this step. And that brings us to Mercury. Mercury is at step 29 Aries, and this was yesterday as well, which is what I feel and what I want to act on, which adds to adds to 11, which is I become. And so our mind is basically manifesting, holding space for the whole gigantic parade. But what Spirit was telling me was that Mercury will move very quickly into Taurus, and that's basically going to work on what actually starts to manifest. So even though we're in the middle section of Aries, even though we're working out our ego and our ambition, our ability to be strong, our mind is already building a little house, building a little setup, building our spring. And that's important to know. In fact, what Spirit was telling me was, as the road is rocky, as you're in a lot of turbulence, focus on the house you are building. Focus on the world you are building. Focus on how great it's coming together. It'll be a little easier than focusing on the bumpiness of the road now. Now, speaking of bumpy, look at the moon. The moon at 11:21. How about that? I mean, you guys have been watching long enough. At 11:21, it conjuncts Chiron. See, I tell you, something always cool happens at 11:21. Well, in this case, it is the moon hitting 22 degrees Pisces and Chiron, which means ultimately that breakthrough. We have an opportunity for spiritual breakthrough today when we go with the flow and when we open our heart even wider, like I suggested in today's affirmation. So there's a real opportunity to see the big picture, to have a crazy epiphany, to have a miracle happen, to hear from somebody you haven't heard from in lifetimes. Like, this is probably the most spiritual miracle energy that God Universe offers, and none of us in our lifetime have experienced the moon crossing Chiron at 22, except maybe for some clients who are very young because it's their Chiron return. So, incidentally, remember I told you how I was getting a lot of Chiron 22 clients? This last week of doing readings, one after another, way after I said it, Chiron 22, Chiron 22, Chiron 22, so many clients, and those clients booked over a month ago, so it's amazing sometimes the affirmations I have. The point is there are many people who watch this show who were born at Chiron and 22, who were here to perform spiritual miracles, and who are only now healed and ready, I would say, as the moon today crosses. This is the final, you are ready to go out and do, my child. Now Mars is at step 8. This is probably the energy that's going to show the most effect today, or change, because our male energy, which is what Aries is about, Mars, is now focused on decisions. So our ego is decided about what we believe. And if not, we're decided about what we don't believe. And remember, you must be clear on what you are not to know what you are. So it's time to start deciding that you're not a Trump follower, or you're not a Hillary person, or you're not a this or a not a that, or you're not a Monsanto person, and really start to cut away all the things you're not, which will leave you with the things you may be. It's very helpful to go ahead and close the door entirely on those things that you are not a part of. And if you've been toying around with like joining a club or leaving a club or joining an organization or leaving an organization, really it's best to go ahead and take care of that now, because you need to focus on what's right for you, and they need to focus on not having you. And we all need to get on with our next round. So it is time to decide, cut, and go with what you believe in. Then the last thing I'll point out is Jupiter. Jupiter retrograded to step 14 last night. Remember yesterday it was at step 15, which was promoting a peaceful lifestyle and a peaceful reality. Well, today it's now at step 14, which means Jupiter is promoting where we belong. That brings mental peace. So it's time to understand where in reality you belong. And I think it has a lot to do, like I said, with this decision. If you decide that you are not, on a certain team, well, then you certainly will belong somewhere else. So a lot of people will be making changes on where they belong in reality, house, job, state, city, because their beliefs are cutting away what doesn't work, leaving them room for what may work in the future. Just remember, this just came up from Spirit one more time, that it's time to let go of this old stuff with Pisces. And this Venus at 0 degrees, she's ready now to populate and become the new ego. All month long between steps 0 through 16, we've been clearing out our bottom ego, clearing out our old habits, clearing out our emotional baggage, healing a lot of our stuff. Now that Venus arrived to step 0 today, technically, from Wednesday, Thursday on, everyone begins to build the new ego. So if you have watched my 11 Steps to Serious Joy so far, this would be the time to start. Today is step 0. Start with your new ego with step 0, and you might watch that video as a reminder for how to handle step 0, the following day step 1, and so on. All right. Well, thank you so much, my friends. I appreciate you showing up. I think that's all we have for today's Zen Den. If you're watched over by my personal Sensei network, which I'm so grateful for those who are, today I'm going to give you an example of what Saturn level you are. What level of a decider are you in life, and how does that help you decide? I want you to be clear on your decision-making processes because you're starting to decide what you don't believe in life, and I will remind you of what needs to go into a particular decision of your own. And for those who like to be watched over by me, it is the gracious and most wonderful thing you can do to support me and my cause. Come on down to soulgarden.tv and click on Serious Joy. You can do a 7-day trial for just 99 cents, and we have new features coming out soon that will be available only to our preferred viewers. All right, friends, that's all I have for today. I'll see you in 24 hours with more. Remember, I love you, and live, love, be.